Ain't nobody messing with my queens, listen up. You ain't gotta love me, cause I love me. Put a hand up if you in the trenches building confidence, and put a hand up if you need some mending for your heart that's healing. Salute, say you in attendance, this army's relentless. A weekly dose of motivation, give me your attention. This is for all the queens going heal by any means. They chasing our self-esteem, it's not as hard as it seems. Go, go, go queen, go. Ain't nobody messing with my queens, listen up.
Welcome to the All Queens Army podcast. It's your girl, your host, Coach Breezy. I am here with another episode for the queens. Yes! Honey, I'm super duper excited. Today is another beautiful motivational Monday, and you queens know it is absolutely my favorite day of the week because Monday is the day that I get to be in your ears because you queens are in my heart. So today's episode is really good. We're going to be talking about what to do when you don't receive an apology. I know so many of you queens have dealt with things like this before, where there's a person that you feel like did something dirty or did you wrong, or you know what I mean? They just did something and you feel like you are due an apology. And some of you may even be having a difficult time dealing with the situation because you have not received an apology. A lack of an apology does a whole bunch of things, okay? When you don't get an apology, it makes it really difficult to move past issues, to move past hurts and past pain. And most importantly, it makes it really difficult to forgive people, okay? So we're going to talk about what do you do when you don't receive that apology. Because remember, queens, we can't force other people to do anything. It don't matter how bad you want that goddamn apology, okay? If the person ain't going to do it, they ain't going to do it. And you can't force them to, okay? So instead of trying to force someone else to do something, you can take action and deal with it your own way so that you can find some peace with the situation. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we jump deep into the topic, I want to give a couple really quick announcements. As I've shared with you guys, I've created life coaching programs, and so there are packages out on the website. You can check them out. Also, don't forget about the ebook. The ebook is titled How to Create Boundaries and Stand Up for Yourself, and that is also available for you to download on the website. It is free for my beautiful queens. Okay, so make sure you guys are taking advantage of all of that. And last but not least, let's make sure that we go to the All Queens Army website, click on the subscribe tab, and subscribe to the All Queens Army podcast. So with that being said, queens, let's jump right in and talk about what to do when you don't receive an apology, because so many of us have dealt with that and probably are still in situations with people where they just won't apologize, or they refuse to apologize, or God knows, I hope y'all don't have people in your lives who just don't ever apologize, okay? Because I know some people personally in my life who, child, they just don't ever apologize. They never own up to anything. Never, ever, ever. And it's so frustrating. So that's what we're going to go right into, because saying I'm sorry is impossible for some people. Child, like some people feel like and act like you're asking them for a damn kidney when you're only asking for a damn apology. Like, good grief, y'all. Why do y'all make this bigger than it has to be, child? Like, it's not the end of the world to just part your lips and say, I'm sorry, or say, I apologize, just to own and acknowledge something that you may have done that may have hurt someone or rubbed them the wrong way. But it's really, really difficult for some people. And here's what I see. This is just my observation of why it's so difficult for some people. So the reason that some people find it hard to apologize is because of their pride. Pride could be an issue causing people not to apologize. Some people just so full of pride, always have their nose in the air, never want to be wrong, never want to admit their flaws, never want to admit that they did something wrong. Pride just gets in the way. Some people lack all accounts of humility. I mean, all accounts, okay? Another thing that I've noticed is that people who have a hard time apologizing obviously lack accountability. They just will not take accountability. They feel like you're attacking them. They push it back and project the issue back to you. Some people just will not take accountability for the things that they have done. They want to argue you down, prove you wrong, defend themselves, literally, child, do a whole song and dance and do every goddamn thing but just owning the thing that you're telling them that they're doing. And that is super duper frustrating. Remember a couple episodes ago, we talked about people who don't take accountability and what to do about those types of people. Trust me, if you're dealing with someone who struggles with taking accountability, you're not going to get an apology. That's it. You're just not. Here's another reason why some people have a hard time apologizing. They are just goddamn stubborn. Some people are just so stubborn that just because you're identifying something that it is that they need to do or that they need to work on, they absolutely 100% refuse to do it. Not because they can't do it, not because they don't know that they were wrong, not because they even have a hard time admitting that they're wrong, but some people are so damn stubborn and so damn rebellious that just because you're telling them you want an apology, or just because you're the one that's identifying their shortcoming or identifying their flaw, just because of that, the stubbornness will kick in and they just won't apologize. They just won't own it just because someone else is identifying it. Now, if it was something that they discovered on their own or a reason that they felt like they needed to apologize on their own, stubborn people will do it, but not if you tell them, okay? Some people just stubborn, like they are bullheaded, child. And I'm telling you, people like that, you'll always wind up clashing with, and you really just get nowhere. I find it to be an immature personality trait when people are just so stubborn that they won't do something simply because you're identifying what it is that they should do or could do differently. All right, here is another reason why some people find it difficult to apologize. Some people have trouble admitting that they're wrong, or maybe even lack empathy. Now, we already talked about people who have a problem admitting that they're wrong. I mean, those are easy to identify. We see it all the time where someone is dead and blatantly wrong, child, and they still refuse to admit it. Like the wrong could slap them in the face, punch them in the neck, and kick them in the ass, and they still would deny anything, right? So we know people like that, I am sure. The one that sticks out to me is people who potentially lack empathy. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Someone who lacks empathy is a person that I kind of sort of choose to not be around, period. I just don't want to be around a person who lacks empathy, meaning they really don't give a shit, truly. Like they really just don't care how they make other people feel. Like they really just don't care how their actions impact other people. Like they really just don't care how their actions hurt other people. I truly distance myself from people like that. When I see that characteristic in a person, I move back. I do. I move back. I will not get close to people like that. I will not talk to them for long periods of time or create friendships or even like be their acquaintance, to be honest. To me, that characteristic and that personality trait is really teeter-tottering on the narcissistic behavior for me. Yeah, so it's a no for me, okay? People who lack empathy are just a no. They're a no for me. And I will tell you this. People who lack empathy will never apologize. They just won't. You know why? Because they do not have the emotional capacity to give one fuck about how someone else feels or how their actions impact other people. And that's just facts on facts, okay? That's just what it is. Okay. So why is it that we seek out apologies? Like, why is it so important to us that we get apologies for people? Why do we sit back and feel sad and feel frustrated and not be able to move on and feel like we have to have this closure and we have to get this acknowledgement from a person? Why is it that we get stuck and so hung up on getting an apology from people? Well, let me explain why, because you may even get frustrated with yourself sometimes that you just can't let something go, or you just find it difficult to close a book or close the chapter or move on or find some peace in a certain situation because you didn't get the apology that you wanted. So let me explain to you, queens, why it is that we as human beings seek apologies so relentlessly, okay? So here's one of the things. Apologies will show you that people care. Obviously, we all have a need to feel like people care about us, especially if they're the people that we care about. I mean, go figure, right? If they're the people that we care about, we want to feel like that they reciprocate that care and they care for us too. So if that person does something to hurt us, does something to piss us off, does something to make us feel less than, we want them to acknowledge that they hurt our feelings. We want them to acknowledge that they did it. So we just need to feel like people care. So that's one thing. So don't beat yourself up, queens. All of these things that I'm sharing with you right here in this little part are things that I don't want you to beat yourself up about, because I know so many of you do. You're going to beat yourself up because you get pissed with yourself that you're not able to just move on, that you're not able to just let it go. And don't get mad with yourself, okay? Don't fall into that trap of beating yourself up, okay? Here's another reason why we seek apologies, all right? It helps us feel appreciated and validates our feelings. Now, us feeling appreciated and validated by the people that we love and the people that we care about and the people that matter to us actually matters to us, all right? Now, there are plenty of episodes, blogs, and YouTube videos where I talk about learning how to separate your need of validation and approval and ego stroking from other people. So let's not get those situations confused with situations where you're requesting an apology and why you need one. Those are totally different situations. I'm even going to address that a little bit towards the end of this episode when I start talking about what exactly you can do when you're just not going to get that apology. We haven't quite gotten there yet. We're getting there. I promise. Stay with me, okay? But don't beat yourself up for feeling like you want your feelings to be validated. That is 100% a completely normal thing to desire from people that you care about, from people that you have relationships with, from important people in your life, if something bothers you, period. So do not beat yourself up and do not try to take out your need for validation there, okay? Another reason that we seek out apologies is because an apology most often initiates the beginning of healing and forgiveness. So remember, in relationships, in order for us to move past an issue, in order for us to work through a problem together, the very first thing that we have to do is get the acknowledgement and then work on the forgiveness, okay? So those two things have to happen. When you don't get an apology, it really makes it extremely difficult, or at least it's a perception that it's difficult for you to start healing, okay? For you to start healing and for you to move on. A lot of you are going to feel like you have to get an apology in order for you to be able to start the healing process and start moving on. Again, I'm going to address that and how you get over that towards the end of the episode. Okay? So stay with me. Another reason that we seek out apologies is because we need to feel heard and acknowledged. We really do. For people that we love and for people that we care about, it is an important foundational aspect of a healthy relationship. Remember, queens, communication is the foundation of the relationship. Everything is built on communication. So if you are not getting an apology or an acknowledgement of how you feel or what you're telling the person that they did, if you're not getting the acknowledgement there or even the apology, then it makes you feel like you're not being heard. It makes you feel like you're not being acknowledged. And remember, that's a part of communication and it's something that we all absolutely need. Okay, here's another thing. We seek apologies because we want to know that people that we hold near and dear to our hearts are going to take responsibility for their actions. Baby, that is important because if a person lacks the ability to take responsibility for their actions, if they can't do that, I'm telling you, the relationship will come to a halt at some point. It may not be early in the relationship because you may have built up a tolerance for that kind of bad behavior, but it shouldn't be a relationship that lasts very long if a person is not willing to take any responsibility for the things that they do, okay? And the last reason why we seek out apologies is we feel understood and valued. We want people to not just hear us, but understand us. And if they don't understand us, we want them to put in the effort to try to understand us, to try to understand how we feel, to try to be compassionate about what we're going through, to have empathy for us as people, because that is what makes us feel like we're valued by the people that we care about, all right? So as much as we may feel that we need or want an apology, sometimes we just ain't going to get one. It just ain't going to happen, okay? That's what we're talking about. What happens when it just ain't happening? We can talk all day about why people don't give apologies. We can talk all day about why we seek apologies. But the bottom line is there's just some situations and some goddamn people, y'all, that we just ain't getting the apology from, period. It just ain't coming. It ain't happening. That's the bottom line. So what is it that we do when we won't get the apology? How do we continue to move on? How do we continue to deal with the person? How do we continue to operate in the situation when we ain't getting the apology that we really need or we really know we deserve? So here's the first thing. In this one, y'all gonna be like, Coach Breezy, I already knew that, okay? Okay, I know, but I'm gonna give y'all some tips on how to do it, okay? So here it is. You have to learn how to forgive the person without the apology. Y'all knew I was gonna say that, right? Y'all probably knew that before y'all even click play to listen to the episode. Y'all probably knew. Y'all like, we already know she gonna say we gotta forgive him anyway, because that's what everybody else say, right? That's what everybody say, because it's really what you have to do. I want to tell you why though, why it's important that you forgive them anyway. And I'm also going to give you tips on how to do it. See, that's the difference with All Queens Army, is you're going to hear the same advice in different places and all that shit. Of course, there's no magic in the universe and there's no secret magic pill, period. You just got to do what you got to do. What a lot of platforms will not tell you is exactly how to do it and give you some steps and some tips on exactly how to make it happen. See, it's one thing to know what to do in theory, but it's another thing to actually put what to do in action. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So again, you have to forgive without getting the apology. You have to find a way to allow yourself to forgive that person. And here's why. Because allowing pain or anger to fester because of someone else's shit, because someone else will not own up to their own crap, because someone else will not apologize for their toxicity, for their hurt, for their pain, for their actions, allowing your pain to fester because of someone else's actions is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. You're angry, you're pissed off, you're frustrated, you have all of this animosity. It could turn into bitterness. It really does wreak havoc on your life. It don't wreak havoc on their lives. They done moved on. 90% of the time, they have absolved themselves of any guilt. They don't feel any damn thing. Or sometimes because they do, some people who actually do feel guilty or do feel bad or do actually have some sort of a conscience and they feel like, oh man, that was some messed up stuff I did. Those type of people still don't apologize. And sometimes they cut you off. They will cut you off. They will cut you out of their lives. They will smear your name through the mud. They will act like you did them dirty when really it was the other way around. But that's that conscience eating up at them. They feel bad, so they got to make you look bad before you make them look bad. Remember, hurt people hurt people. So if someone feels like they did you wrong, like deep down inside, even if they're not willing to acknowledge it, but deep down inside they feel some guilt, oh yeah, baby, that negative energy and them negative emotions will do some things and have them doing some things, some negative things, right? So sometimes not only are you the victim of not getting the apology, but you might also be the victim of getting attacked or cut off or isolated or rejected from the same person that did you wrong. And it's all because you're willing to put a flashlight on their bad behavior and they don't like it and they feel uncomfortable, okay? So that's why you have to make your best effort to forgive them, because you don't want to allow someone else's bad behavior to create animosity, bitterness, negative feelings, negative energy, low vibration, negative conversation, and all of the rest of the yuckiness that comes along with that. You do not want to allow someone to be able to control your life in that way. And I know people, honey, I know people who have been waiting for an apology for 30 years and who have developed so much anger and so much hate and so much bitterness because of what someone else did to them. But the crazy thing is, the person who was the victim, the person who didn't get the apology, the person who was angry and hurt and bitter, literally stunted their life and stunted their growth and stunted their relationship potential because they continue to wallow and fester in negative energy, anger, bitterness. I'm pissed off. You hurt me. I'll never let that happen again. It's so many people who do that, y'all. You have to learn how to forgive people even if they aren't willing to apologize. Now, here's how. This is probably the piece y'all been waiting for. Like, dang, Breezy, it take you a long time to get to the point. Wow, I be having a lot to say. Okay, I do. I be having a lot to say. Okay, so here's how. The first thing is you want to shift your focus and shift your mindset, okay? And the way you're going to shift your focus about this situation with the person who won't apologize is you have to change your mind and see it as an opportunity. So shift your focus from that situation that hurt me, that situation that caused me pain, that situation that broke my heart, that situation that I got disappointed, that situation that this person lied to me or they did this to me or they betrayed me. Shift from that to, what am I supposed to learn from that situation? What am I supposed to learn from that betrayal? What am I supposed to learn from that cheating? What am I supposed to learn from that lying? What am I supposed to learn from the disappointment? So keep how it made you feel, but instead of wallowing in the emotion, shift your thought process and start asking the universe or God or whatever you believe, what is it that you were supposed to learn from going through it? You guys are going to start realizing that once you start perceiving your problems, your unfortunate situations, your issues as opportunities, as stepping stones, as trampolines to boost you to the next level, if you start looking at unfortunate situations that happen in your life from that vantage point as a flight of steps that propels you to the next level, I promise you, queens, you'll stop wallowing in the negativity of it. It's not really a negative situation. It's your perception of the situation. So you have to shift your mindset. You have to change your perspective and learn how to see challenges as opportunities. A challenge is nothing but a flight of steps to take you to the next level. A challenge is nothing but an elevator to the next floor. A challenge is nothing but a trampoline to propel you to the next height. I'm telling you, queens, that is a life hack. If you shift your mindset, start telling yourself that instead of allowing your brain to keep feeding off of the negativity and the pain. You have to turn that off and turn on something positive, okay? So here's the next way that you're going to forgive someone without getting the apology. Here's the second thing. You have to learn how to practice gratitude, queens. A lot of people underestimate gratitude. Now, let me tell you what it is really quick if you don't know. It's when you intentionally take out time of your day. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It depends on how severely you need to refocus and retrain and recalibrate your mind, okay? But it is where you carve out specific periods of time during the day to focus on what you have, to focus on your blessings, to focus on the positive things of your life. It is a complete mind shift because naturally, the way that we perceive life, our very first reaction to everything is negativity and fear. Now, that's specifically to people who have not intentionally learned how to think positive. If you have not learned how to think positive in most situations, the natural vibration of our universe will have you thinking and seeing things from a negative perspective, all right? So that's what gratitude is. So what you want to do is shift your mindset from being pissed off that the person hurt you to being grateful that you see the person for who they are. You want to be grateful that you have learned a characteristic about the person. So now you can make the best decision for you in regards to that relationship. So again, instead of festering on the negative that the person did it, that they hurt you, that they pissed you off, shift your mindset and focus on how grateful you are that you've learned something about this person, that you've learned about their personality, that you are able to see their shortcoming, that they were no longer able to hide that ugliness from you, that you didn't go further into the situation not knowing exactly who they were or not being educated about that personality trait, all right? Okay, so here's the third thing that you can do to forgive a person without an apology, all right? You want to make peace with the situation. So how do you make peace with something that hurt you or disappointed you or cut you deep to your core? How do you actually make peace with it? Here's a way. Do a little bit of self-reflection. Y'all knew it was coming. Do some self-reflection, y'all. Self-reflection is sitting down, having time to yourself, quiet time, at least 20 minutes to a half an hour. It's just you and you. Grab a journal, a notebook, something for you to write in, and just sit with yourself for a minute. Turn the TV off, turn your phone off, and go deep into yourself and get in touch with your inner you, your deepest thoughts, your deepest feelings, your deepest emotions. Get in touch with those and start asking yourself why this is bothering you so much. Why is this situation disturbing my peace? Why do I want this person to acknowledge me so badly? Why do I want this person to apologize so badly? What exactly am I hoping to get from the apology? What exactly am I hoping to get from them acknowledging my feelings, from validating me, from making me feel like they care? What exactly am I getting from it? And is this person worthy? Is this person worthy to make me feel validated? Like, are they important enough? Do they give me enough love? Do I really get what I need, what I want out of this relationship? Is this something that I would be taking to another place? Like, why exactly is this person so important that I need to get this validation, that I need to be able to talk to them before I move on, that I need to feel like that they understand me and that they value me? Are they that important? You have to start asking yourself some of these questions, because sometimes when you get to the root of it, the bottom line is the person that you're agonizing over, the person who won't give you the apology, is not that goddamn important of a person anyway. They're not even someone that you should value that much anyway. Now, there are exceptions, of course, to that rule, because sometimes the person you won't get the apology from could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be a best friend, it could be a husband. Sometimes the people you won't get the apology from are someone who's a lot closer to you, someone that you're intimately bonded with, okay? In those situations, situations, I recommend that you handle those types of relationships a little bit differently. There's actually a blog on the website that talks exactly about that, about how to deal with like family and people in your life who behave that way, but you don't necessarily want to cut them off, but you're trying to figure out how to work with them. So you guys can check out that blog if the person that won't apologize to you just happens to be a parent or a child or a cousin or just someone that you don't want to just cut them off. Okay. All right. So I hope that that was helpful to you, queens. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope you got something from it. So that's all for today's Motivational Monday. I hope that I have motivated the shit out of you. I really do. Like, I really, really do. I really hope I did. So make sure you queens follow me at All Queens Army on Instagram so that we can connect. Also, be sure to subscribe to the All Queens Army podcast. So with that being said, queens, that is all for today. I love you, queens, so much. Thank you for tuning in. I will talk to you next Monday. Have a good day. Bye.